Hi, Professor Bliznick. I'm Jordan Hood, and this is my midterm business model draft. So the entertainment business that I chose is a creative arts studio. So this would function similarly to a rec center in the community, where anyone can go and rent out space, rent out practice rooms for themselves or a group where they could dance, they could host their vocal lessons, practice and refine an instrument, and it would be for anyone in the community to come and practice and refine their art. This entertainment business could potentially serve anybody in the community. It is not reserved for any specific age group, so that anyone of all ages and genders can come and practice whatever their art may be. Whether that be actual visual arts, singing, dancing, performing, any lessons, voice lessons, dance lessons, stuff like that. It's for all ages. It is not working for any specific company or any specific group that is going to their end goal. It is for each individual that is looking to rent out space to refine their art. Physically, this business provides many materialistic services, from the rooms and the space to the equipment and the instruments that people can rent out. Whether or not you are a part of a community theater or a vocal performing group or a dance studio, you are allowed to use this space. This space can be rented out for a group of people who are looking to perform at a wedding and they just need some time to practice, or they don't have the room or the equipment at home to practice, so they rent out our space. Or it could be for a whole dance studio that is just looking to get an extra practice day in and their studio was booked up and they are working towards a recital or a competition or something like that. So there is no ultimate end goal for this studio as a collective. So the value of this studio comes from each individual person that chooses to rent out our space. So that can be measured by following up with the customers and clients to see if their end goal, their recital or competition worked out in their favor, and if we were helpful as a studio to provide that space and that extra practice time for them. It can also be measured through how many rooms and rehearsal spaces were rented out. Through that, we can see how many people used our space, their positive or negative reviews of the space and their time with us, and we can measure our success that way. What sets this entertainment business apart from others, in my opinion, is that it is not tailored or reserved for any specific person or specific company. So like I said before, any individual that's just looking to come in and practice on the piano for an hour just to practice their skills, not working towards any end goal, they can come use this space, as well as any group or individual that is working towards an end goal and looking to practice and perform and refine their art. So why I think this business is important is, for example, on UCF's campus, there are practice rooms with pianos in them and rehearsal space available in the School of Music. However, it is only available if you are a student at that school. So someone like me who is a student at Rosen, I am not allowed to utilize those rehearsal spaces or those pianos or the equipment that they have. So I'm not very sure. I'm very unaware about other businesses similar to this one that function for the community and don't function for a specific company. So what I think makes this business unique is that it is only there for supplemental help to anyone that wants it. It can be just space for an individual to come and get away and feel like they have the room and the equipment and the support to practice whatever art they want to practice. This is important to me because I feel like everyone should have access to music in their life, whether or not they are involved in an actual functioning group or company. This business is dependent on many different things, the first of which being the space that I have available, which will be my biggest purchase. Making sure that I have large spaces as well as small spaces is important so that I can accommodate all different types of groups that seek out my studio. Small rehearsal rooms can be used for individual performers and small ensembles, whereas large rehearsal spaces can be used for bigger choral programs as well as dance groups that come in, where I can have mirrors and bars in the space to host them. The location in which I host this space is equally as important. Picking a community that is very focused on fine arts and performing arts is very important if I want my space to be utilized. If I pick a community that isn't focused on fine arts, it'll be harder to rent out my space and harder to get my company's name out there. This business is also very dependent on the staff that I hire. I need to get people that will check guests in and out, people that can clean the studios and the space after it's been used, and people to manage the space while it's in use. And lastly, and probably most importantly, is the equipment that I have. If the equipment and instruments that I use aren't up to par, then no groups will choose my space as opposed to their own. One method I can use to deliver value and connect with my customers is by reaching out to dance companies, choral programs, the local school district's fine arts program, and other groups in the community to offer a relationship with them. By building these connections and friendships, I can offer services to a wider array of clients. I can also utilize social media to show the community the equipment and the space that I have available, and offer membership deals and incentives to groups who keep coming back for weekly or monthly rehearsals. Another way that I can deliver value to my guests is by offering free classes for groups, fine arts or not, to do team building exercises or icebreakers and things like that to help bring the community together using my space. One concrete way that I can generate revenue for my business is through the rental of our space or equipment. Space rental will be our primary source of income. However, we could also generate money by renting out microphones or speakers or instruments for community events and things of that nature. The biggest purchase I'll be making for this business is an operational purchase of buying instruments and the space. Probably the second biggest purchase would be all of the electrical and auditorial equipment like our speakers and our mics. Having proper instruments and equipment is the most important thing for this business to function efficiently. Another operational purchase would be hiring staff to manage the events and rehearsals, people to clean afterwards, and people to manage the front desk. Now, a purchase that might be made along the line to help grow the business would be purchasing a location that has an actual stage with seating. Once this venue is obtained, we can also put more money into planning and hosting events for groups that want to use the studio to practice, as well as use the stage and venue that we have to perform for an audience. Instead of just being a studio and rehearsal space, we could function as a venue for dance recitals, choir concerts, theatrical performances, and things like that. Another expense that can be made to help develop the company is hosting professional or well-known voice coaches and choreographers to teach special one-time classes. This would be a huge way to help bring more people to the company. Purchases that I'll always be making to help sustain the business is by upgrading the instruments and repairing any damages that may have occurred. Like I mentioned, it is very important for us to have quality and up-to-date equipment and instruments. Along with this, offering proper training for our staff is a great way to ensure that our business will function long-term. A final sustainment purchase that can be made is by launching social media campaigns and hiring social media managers to run them. This will help us stay relevant in the community.